Before taking ESCI 310 with Audrey, I'd never really considered bringing Indigenous ways of knowing into a science classroom. And being completely honest, I wasn't sure how to do it properly. Except for the select indicators already in the curriculum, I didn't know how they would fit. From what I learned in my own primary and secondary school classrooms, Western science seems to be like a puzzle. Everything has a place and it'll always fit in with the rest. As something is newly discovered, scientists will take that new knowledge and twist and turn the pieces trying to figure out where it belongs until they find the perfect place. And when that happens, it'll be categorized with the rest. The only way it's connected is by the other few pieces it connects to. And that's how it seems to go. Another way that Western science seems to be categorized represented here is by color. So all the animals will fit into certain categories, and then they will all fit into the categorization of the animal kingdom. I learned to bring Indigenous ways of knowing into the classroom in many different ways. One way our class did this was by experiencing the video game Never Alone. It introduced us to some Inuit legends, and because it was a video game, it was easy to take in the knowledge and follow along as it progressed. The way I chose to represent my thoughts about how science changed with Indigenous ways of knowing is by using the Cree medicine wheel, and I also added in some of my own touches. I use the Cree medicine wheel as reference. So white represents the understanding of life in winter, because plants will die or they'll go to sleep and come back. Yellow is planting, and it represents spring. Red is for growth, which represents summer. And black is for harvesting, and that represents fall. One way I changed the idea of the medicine wheel was blending all of the colors together. And I did this because no matter what, all of these are connected, and so they flow through each other going into the next section. Then I added some other colors like blue, green, orange, and purple. And these were representing of my learning of how Indigenous ways of knowing can be brought into the science classroom. This can be having elders come to speak and share stories. By having these discussions, I took aspects. One example was when an elder came and spoke to us about treaties. And there was I had a new understanding of treaties and also the environment around before treaties were made. And I was able to critically engage with that knowledge without really needing a picture drawn for me. I was able to visualize based off the words he was using. Another way is understanding that we have to give back to the earth when we take. So one way that we learned to do this was by offering tobacco if we were ever removing something from the ground, or just by speaking to our classes about how we should not take living things away. So we shouldn't pull grass out of the ground or rip leaves off of trees. We should look for things that have already hit the ground and are not being harmed if they are taken from their environment, or bringing them to show and then taking them back to where we found them. And another important thing I learned from these discussions was we don't always need to understand in this very moment what is happening around us. Using Western science, we always have an answer for everything, why the weather is the way it is, why animals are behaving the way they are. And I think that having this understanding that we don't always need to know right this second is really important and can be taken and brought into other aspects of everyday life. Thank you.